say I am the messenger. And if you have ever listened to a call by executive national vice president, you will know what I mean. So if you hear something that stings a little bit, or if you're like, ouch, I don't really know how that makes me feel, just identify. And this was how Debbie started her training with the managers and above. It's probably something that you really needed to hear. And I will just say, you guys, she completely rocked my world. And I am going to try really hard to recreate the excitement and the enthusiasm that she poured into us. But this is going to be a little bit of all over the place. And so if you're a new consultant, I'm speaking to you as if you're actively prospecting and looking for people to join your team, so you can become a district manager, an area manager, regional vice president, national vice president, wherever you're at in this business. I'm not necessarily speaking to you if you're like, yeah, I just want to sell a detox once a year. This is really if you're like looking to move and shake in your business. So the first thing that she said that I was like completely in love with was when she said, her daughter Brooke just promoted to regional vice president at 20 years old. And she said, it's so funny. When someone promotes to region, everyone comes out of the woodworks and they're like, what are you doing? What's the secret sauce? What's been going on? Tell me how you did it. Please tell me how you promoted to regional vice president. And she said, but guys, you know what? It's no different than our detox. Someone loses 10 pounds and everyone's like, how did you do it? Tell me your secret. Like, tell me what you did to lose that 10 pounds. And Debbie said they decided to put the donuts down. And when you decide to really go region, you decide to work. And she said there is no secret sauce, just like there's no secret sauce in losing 10 pounds, right? Like we know we have to eat clean. We have to follow the detox plan. There's no secret sauce in going region. You have to do the do and you have to put in the work. So I just thought that was hilarious. Debbie's all, you put the donuts down. One of the things that she did say, you guys, is that we have to, there's different levels of thinkers. And she said there's a whole lot of us are middle class thinkers. And she said you can kind of view this, most people would say like middle class and they view it as like an income bracket or whatever. But thinking, your mindset, you guys, we can develop that, work on that, build that, and really ultimately climb to different levels of thinking. And she said most of us come into Arbonne as a middle class thinker. And she said when I came into Arbonne, I was already a high class thinker by definition. Said that's why I promoted to national vice president in 5.5 months. She said, but had not developed, keyword developed, into a world-class thinker, I would have never been able to keep it. And you guys, the key and the ultimate goal for all of us is to develop into a world-class thinker. And a world-class thinker is someone who says, really someone who's a visionary, someone who sees beyond that next promotion, someone who sees beyond district manager. Yes, I'm going to do X, Y, and Z to promote to district manager, but that's going to set me up to become an area manager. But that's going to set me up to become a regional vice president. Once I promote to national vice president, I can do X, Y, and Z. I can become an ENVP. I can become a 12-wide ENVP. Which really, and we know this from other trainings in the past, you guys, that's all personal growth and development. Your mind is a muscle. You've got to work it every single day. You don't just go to the gym and get the body that you want and say, oh, I'm good, like peace out, and you don't go back to the gym. Your mind is the same way. You don't personally grow and develop and say, oh, I'm good, like peace out, I don't need any more personal growth. You have to continue to develop that. So she said people who come in who are middle class thinkers, on average, you guys, they're only going to reach out to 10 to 15 people, and then they're going to tell you, this is kind of hard. Like, I don't know. No one's responding to me. You said you really have to ask questions. You have to know right out of the gate that most people are going to stumble after they talk to 10 people. She also said, you guys, anything that's going on in your business, anything, if you're like, oh, wow, we have sales but no sponsoring, or we have sponsoring but no sales, or we're just not excited, we're not enthusiastic, whatever that looks like. She said you have to understand, and this is a hard pill to swallow, not only are we a part of the solution, and I like to think that I grab my team by the hand and I help them and I coach them and I mentor them. She said, but not only are we part of the solution, we're also part of the problem. And I was like, ugh. Okay. She said she was coaching someone personally and she was like, Debbie, I just don't understand. Everyone that I sponsor into my business is like lethargic and they're not excited and they're not passionate and they don't really want to go sponsor anyone and no one's really excited. And Debbie said, well, have you looked in the mirror? And the lady was like, oh, I'm kind of mopey, huh? And Debbie said, yeah, you kind of are. And she was like, okay, I get it. I need to change. So I thought that was really good. We're not only a part of the solution, but we're also part of the problem. She said, motivation lasts as long as a bath. I thought that was hilarious. She was like, it's not my job to motivate my team. She was talking about being a leader, leading from the front. And she said, the best kind of leader is not a leader that's facing you all right now. So I'm facing all of you guys. I can see all of your faces. She said, the best kind of leader is the one where you can see their back and they're running. And you're like, hey, where are you going to be? Hey, your team is like, hey, where are you? Hey, where are you going to be? Hey, can I hop on your call? Hey, can I do this? She said, that's the best kind of leader that you can be in your business, because there's not a phone call or a training that you can do to motivate them to change and become the high-class thinker or the world-class thinker that they need to be. Inspiration is what it's going to take for them to actually decide to move in their business. She talked about never being disappointed in people. You guys, if you've ever had a month where you're looking at your team and you're like, oh, well, if Susie Q would have finished district like she said she was going to, or if so-and-so, just would have went in qual with 2,500, then we start blaming our success on other people. And then she kind of went into ease. Like, you can become an executive district manager or an executive area manager or an executive regional vice president. And she said, guys, the only E I ever wanted in my business was in front of an N. ENVP. She said, other than that, I tried to work to not be in that position because it just meant that I wasn't wide enough. And when you're not wide enough, you will find yourself being disappointed in others. And so she said, just work really hard to always be leading from the front and always finding new. She said, who's your next 10? I can't even tell you guys how many times she said, who's your next 10? Who's your next 10? She said, if you sign up a business builder without an order, like, you're kidding yourself if you really think that they want to jump in and build this business. She said, sometimes they do and they shock me, but most of the time they're not committed and they're really not all in. So don't just get your socks off by saying, welcome to the team. You're a new business builder. Hip, hip, hooray. She said, they have to show me some kind of level of commitment for me to be like, yes, here's one of my 10. One of the other things that she said she does daily, which is really powerful, is she actually journals what she wants in a business partner. Every morning, she said, I journal the same thing every single day. It's repetition. Every single day, I journal what it is that I'm looking for, who I want to do business with, what kind of qualities they have, what kind of people they are. People who, are not afraid to move and shake, people who are already high-class thinkers, people who, can catch the vision. And so she writes those things out daily. So there's probably 2 or 3 more things, and I'm going to turn it back over to Beth. One of the biggest, most helpful things that she shared was how she always coaches 2 levels up. This is huge. This is like one of my favorite. She said, when I have a brand new consultant, I'm never coaching them to DM. I'm always coaching them to area manager. And think about this, you guys. Like, we've heard a ton of trainings about this, like, help people go area right away. But she said, when I first started my business, and not me, but Debbie, she said, when I first started my business, I promoted to district manager in 6 days. And my sponsor sent me an email. It was like, congratulations, you're a new DM. And Debbie was like, what's that? And they were like, nothing, just keep going. And she was like, okay. And she kept going. So she said, when she helps someone start a business, pretty much almost everyone tells us they need between $1,500 and $4,500 a month. That's like a give me. We know that is life-changing for people. And so she says, okay, you've signed up, you started your business, congratulations. Your goal is to get me on the phone with 4 people that you want to do business with by tomorrow, right away. And so she gives, like, that's the first thing. Like, we're not talking about, launching, nothing. She's like, get me on the phone with 4 people that you want in your business right away. And she says, we're going to go in qualification for area manager. That's the level that you need to be. That's where you can make $1,500 to $4,500 a month. So as a consultant, she's talking to them about qualifying for area manager. And if they don't hit it and they're congratulated for becoming a district, they're like, wait, I thought I didn't hit my goal. She's like, congrats, you're a new district. Like, you did it. That's so awesome. She said, if someone promotes to district manager, And she's on the call with them. They're like, Debbie, like, you know, what's my next step? What's my next goal? She's talking to them about region. She's casting that vision of how you're a district manager, but when we add a few people to the pot and they do this, you can go in qualification for regional vice president. As a area manager, she's talking to people about becoming a national vice president, what that looks like, putting it out there. So always coaching people 2 levels up. And the reasoning behind this is she said, how many of you guys have ever had someone promote to district manager and then all of a sudden they like go into the witness protection program and you can't get a hold of them anymore? She said what happens is that people have achieved their goal and it's like, check mark, I'm done. I did it. I promoted to district, like check and done. She said, I want someone to promote to district manager and I want it to be like check and run. I don't want them to stop because they're still running towards that next goal. And they're running because that's what I have casted the vision for. So again, it kind of goes back to we're not only a part of the solution, but we can also be part of the problem. And I was super convicted by that. So just having that mentality of creating that check and run environment for your team. So then I got a few funny stories. So she said at our DA, she was talking about just the growth that Arbonne is experiencing right now and with our new CEO and how amazing he is. And, she said to everyone in the audience, all the guests included, she said, when I started this business, 13 and a half years ago, Arbonne wasn't waiting on me, Debbie Neal. Arbonne was not waiting on Executive National Vice President Debbie Neal to sign up and take this company to the top. She said, this company is going to the top with or without me, and this company is going to the top with or without you. So if you're in the room right now and you don't have an ID, I suggest you get one. She said, if you do have an ID, but you're playing small, I suggest you play all out because we're on a rocket ship and we're going nowhere but up. And I was like, woo, I am ready to sign up right now. It was like so good. So I think too, you guys, us just having that gut check and letting our teams know, like, this is it. This is the it spot. This is the place to be. This is hip. This is happening. Like literally we are moving and shaking, and our success in this business is not determined on one person saying yes or saying no. It's not determined on one person promoting to district manager or not promoting to district manager, you guys, because everybody wants to do Arbonne in the world that we live in today. And that's really the mindset that we have to have and the vibe that we have to put out into the universe. And I really believe that that is why Debbie has been able to sustain where she's at, even though the people in her region EOA aren't there anymore, and the people in her nation EOA aren't there anymore, and the people who are in her, first nation, whatever story, they're not there anymore, you guys, because she kept going no matter what. So 2 stories. She was talking about close night craziness and how you should be like just so all in for your business that nothing stops you. Like you should always have a mid-month goal, have a goal by the 15th of every single month. What are you going to hit by the 15th? And so when you're first goal setting with your upline at the beginning of the month, say, well, my mid-month goal is this, but my no matter what goal for the month is this. And she was talking about closing your month out. She likes to close her month 3 times a month. My team and I, we like to close every Friday. So, that's just kind of on you, but I do believe in the power of a mid-month goal and saying, you know what, by mid-month, we're at least going to be at 20,000, or we're at least going to be at 40,000 or 2,500 or whatever your goal is. And then let's say you're already at a management level. Let's say that you're already an area manager. And maybe you've been kind of rocking back and forth between, like, you promoted to area and now you're kind of rocking between 8, 9, and 10. And you're like, but I really want to go region. She said, we think that we have to say the next goal is 40. It's 40 no matter what. It's 40 no matter what. And she said, but really, if you just promoted to area and you did 14,000 to finish, she said, your no matter what goal should be like 18 to 20. And then she said, I talk to my leaders and I say, but can you shoot for that no matter what goal with the same enthusiasm, with the same excitement, with the same determination that you did finishing out your promotion? No one's going to recognize you. There's not going to be a post on Facebook or on social media. There's not going to be gifts. There's not going to be flowers. But if you can do that, if you can go for your no matter what goal with the same enthusiasm and excitement and determination that you closed out your month last month to finish area, you're going to hit your no matter what goal, and you're going to be a regional vice president in the next couple of months. And I was like, wow, that's so incredible. So I think just focusing on that, you guys, picking your mid-month close and your no matter what goal. And she was talking about how we all have different thresholds and different levels of like that we have to push through, you know, like we all have a personal like no matter what, I guess. And so she was talking about how close night was she said the craziest close night she ever had was when she was trying to earn the MVP challenge trip to what did I tell you, Beth, like Italy or something, France, I can't remember. Anyway, she said I had to pull out like 2 or 3 RVPs or NVPs out of my butt, and I didn't really know how it was going to happen. And she said she was coaching people over the phone, and the craziest close night she ever had, she promoted 2 direct nations and 4 regions in one night. And I was like, I can't even imagine. And she said, I was talking on the phone, and she said for like 6 hours I had to pee. And she said, I literally thought, if I don't get up and go pee right now, it's just going to run down my leg. It's just going to be in the floor. And she said, so I got up, and I was walking to the bathroom, and I was still talking on the phone, and I saw the door. She said, my eyes saw the door, but my mind and my body were not communicating with each other. And I ran straight into the door, and I fell back on the floor. Blood was pouring from my nose, and she said, I never stopped talking. And she said, that's my personal threshold, which we all know. If you've listened to a Debbie Neal call, like she's a whole new level. But she was like, that's my personal threshold. And she said, when I get a little bit lazy in my business, or when I start to think like, Debbie, you're okay. Like, it's okay if you don't hit your no matter what goal. I ask myself, Debbie Neal, when is the last time you had to pee for 6 hours? And when is the last time you ran face first into a door and not stop talking? And so guys, like, I just want you to imagine your craziest close night ever. Like, what did it look like? Relive it. Like, what is your personal threshold? And if you're, slacking on your no matter what goal for the month, just challenge yourself and push yourself to go for it as if it's a promotion. And know that you're going to be celebrating your success when no one else is watching. But because you do that month over month, you're going to get closer and closer to those bigger promotions that seem like they're just so far away in the beginning that you can't really swallow it, right? It's about doing the daily do, and it's about doing the things even when people aren't like, yay, you're so awesome, you're so wonderful. And then the last story that I was just like jaw-dropping to me, she said when she started this business, she was just hair on fire, hair blown back. She was just talking to everyone about Arbonne. And she said Arbonne launched into Canada. And she was like, Debbie, who do you know in Canada? Who do you know in Canada? And she thought, I know a lady who married a Canadian. I worked with her at Bath & Body like a decade ago when I was in college. And she said, I'm going to call her. And so she said, I picked up the phone and I called her. And it rang and rang and rang, and I got the voicemail, and I don't even remember the lady's name, but she was like, hey, this is Debbie. I don't know if you remember me. We worked at Bath & Body, but I've got to tell you about Arbonne. We're going to get rich overnight. We're going to become millionaires. And she said, I literally said to her all the things that they tell us not to say. I literally was like, Arbonne's so amazing. Arbonne's so wonderful, like vomiting Arbonne all over this lady. And she said, I talked and I talked and I talked until the voice machine, because this was like back in Dark 100 when people still had voice machines at their house. And she said, I talked and I talked and I talked until the voice machine went beep. And she said the next day I was on my way to a group presentation. I was calling people and telling them about Arbonne. And she said, I picked up the phone and I called her again because this lady's in Canada. I know someone who's in Canada. And she said, I got her voicemail again. And I talked and I talked and I talked until the answering machine went beep. And she said again, I said everything they tell you not to say. I'm telling her we're going to be millionaires. We're going to get rich overnight. Everything you're not supposed to say. She said, I want you guys to know for 30 days, I called her. She said, there's a lot of lessons in this story. Because I could have second guessed myself and I could have been like, well, Debbie, she's not calling you back. She's probably not interested. She probably really doesn't care. You're probably getting annoying by now. You're probably really getting on her nerves. She said, but I didn't. I was in so much activity and I had so much going on. She said, we sponsored, I think it was 24 consultants that month and they did 47,000 in sales, like first step region, something crazy. It's like, I didn't have time to think about whether or not she was doubting or whether or not she didn't want to join my team. Why would she not want to join my team? So I called her and I called her and I left her a voicemail every day. She said, I want you guys to know on the 31st day, she called me back and she said, Debbie. Debbie said, yeah. She was like, I've got 2 questions for you. And Debbie's like, yeah. And she said, number 1, have you lost your freaking mind? And Debbie was like, yeah. Okay, what's question number 2? And she said, question number 2, what the heck is Arbonne? Debbie said, okay, have a seat. And she said, for 45 minutes, I talked this lady's head off. I probably said everything I wasn't supposed to say. I told her everything that there is to know about Arbonne. And at the end of 45 minutes, she said, I tapped the phone. Hello, are you there? And she said, yeah, I'm here. And Debbie said, okay, what'd you think? You ready to get signed up? And she said, Debbie, I still really don't understand what this Arbonne thing is, but you are so excited and so passionate that I'm willing to do this with you. And she signed up, you guys, and she promoted to area manager. But because she signed up, Debbie has 18 national vice presidents in her organization because she called that lady for 30 days in a row. I was like, I literally thought I was going to like drop my camera, like as I was like trying to listen to her. And she said that, you know, there's a lot of stories. So first, like, don't doubt, continue to follow up. She said, I can't tell you how many times people will call me and they're like, but I've reached out 4 times and she hasn't responded. And Debbie's like, do you believe that she's supposed to be in your organization? Do you believe that Arbonne is her vehicle for her, whatever, for her whys? And if they're like, well, yeah, I believe that, then Debbie's like, then don't stop. You keep calling, you keep following up. It's your passion, it's your conviction. She said, the other thing in that, you guys, is that don't discount who is going to introduce you to who, right? And we heard Peyton Mott say this last week, like every minnow knows a whale, every whale knows a minnow, right? Like every single person that you bring into your organization has a divine purpose, and whether they see it or not isn't your decision, right? You are just responsible for what you do if they decide to leave and not be here anymore. You guys, the computer system and web stats is a powerful thing, and people are going to figure out how they can make this Arbonne business work, even if they don't have an upline per se. But can you imagine that? She promoted to area manager, and now Debbie has 18 national vice presidents in her organization because she called that girl consistently. Consistently, she reached out to her with passion and excitement and enthusiasm. So that's all I have, Beth. If you think of anything that I said to you that I didn't say, you can just let me know. But I just want you guys to know it was amazing. Like, literally, it was some of the best, like, 24 hours of just being poured into that I feel like I've had, gosh, in a really long time. I mean, just her spark and her fire and just her no matter what really just challenges you. Like, you can't walk out of a meeting and think like you're going to be anything less than your personal best, you know? And so I guess that's just kind of my challenge. But anyway, Beth, what do you got?
Well, first of all, I want to say, Whitney, you did a really good job of representing Debbie Neal. It's funny because I put down, I mean, I could just like, yeah, like Amy just said, we could hear it in your voice. You definitely lit my hair on fire just as Debbie does. And I put at the top of my notes, I put Whitney Haynes got Debbie Neal. She's living to share it with us. So thank you so much, because I'm sure everybody who's on here is thinking, how fast can Beth get this recording out so that I can share it with everybody else who's not on here? So to those of you who are on here, congratulations to you guys, because you got to hear it firsthand, and we'll get the recording out as soon as possible. But too many nuggets, not too many, so many nuggets. What I just want to do as we close it up is just share with you guys how to take what you just learned and put it into action. So one thing that Debbie Neal shared last year in Maui, which just hit me like a ton of bricks, is she said, I'm where I'm at today because I protected my vision like a fortress. So guys, know this, that your vision is it's got to be big. It's got to be solid. And then you have to wrap walls around your vision. And what I mean are like mental walls. What are you going to do to protect yourself when someone says, oh, you're doing one of those pyramid things? When your best friend says, I can't believe you're doing that. When your best friend says no. When somebody says this. When somebody says that. I just listened to a SoundCloud by MVP Claire Rizzoli. And my gosh, she has 40 first cousins, you guys. And she shared on there that not one of them has anything to do with her Arbonne. 40 first cousins. Like, that's insane. Her mom still buys from someone else. I mean, so if you're waiting for the people that are around you to jump on board with you guys, you might wait a really long time. So mindset is the first thing that I got out of what that Debbie Neal, Whitney Haynes, we all got to have a rock solid mindset, you guys. So in that, my question to you is, what are you reading? You're on this call, which is great. How are you applying yourself daily? Are you feeding yourself? What are you feeding yourself on a daily basis? Is it just the local radio station, or is it information? Is your car a rolling Arbonne University? It needs to be, because that's how we develop and put big, huge, thick walls around our vision to protect it. The other thing we want to make sure we're doing is reading. And I just pulled this book out because I've been rearranging my office and going through books. And this is called Secrets of the World Class. It's a super quick read. I literally sat down, because not every page has words. And I literally sat down this morning, almost got through the whole thing. And I read it several years ago, but it goes right along the lines of what Whitney was talking about. And they talk about in this book what the different, like when you're not a world-class thinker. And a world-class thinker is everything that Whitney shared, and they just go deeper into this. But guys, most of us, like I would say 95% of the population was not taught. It might even be a higher percentage than that, maybe 98%, was not taught to be a world-class thinker. Most of us were taught to be an employee, have an employee mindset, to go work and trade time for money. And that's why so many people struggle with our business. So you gotta develop your mindset. And then the other thing is, I want to challenge every single one of us on this call. I don't care if you're a district manager, area manager, RVP, MVP, consultant, is to act like today you're brand new and you just sat down with Debbie Neal and heard what Whitney just shared. And what did she say? She said, get me on the phone with 4 people in the next 24 hours. So that's my challenge to all of us, is to get, like, who are 4 people, like right now, and you reach out, you might have to reach out to 24 people to get 4 people to get on a call with your upline, or to get on a call with you, or to meet for coffee. But guys, here's the thing. We just heard how Debbie said, like she said, all the wrong stuff, but she still got this lady to join her. It's about passion and enthusiasm. If you're not passionate and enthusiastic about your business right now, you got to ask yourself why. Because like she said, people will follow you if you are. And if we're just Debbie Downers, I mean, you've seen Saturday Night Live, the whole Debbie Downer. Nobody wants Debbie Downer in their life, right? They're not going to want to join Debbie Downer. So you have to figure out what that is. So I want to challenge everybody in this huddle to get 4 people. Because there is no reason why every single person on this call who's not an area manager yet can't be in qualification for area manager on April 1st. And there's no reason why you can't be at the Pure Vibe party with us in Vegas. And some of you don't get to go to Vegas because of the waiting list, but that's okay. There's no reason why you can't. Because I know I see all these names on here, and I know you guys all want to be at least a regional vice president this year. Guys, you got to start sometime. You got to start today. And the last thing I want to share is something that I heard from Terry Fisher. She shared it with her team last week, and I really love this tip. And it's from brand new National Vice President Jane Gardner. Jane Gardner is a new MVP in Huntington Beach. And when she was finishing up National Vice President, it was the middle of the month, and she made a decision. She made a decision that she was going to think of 30 people that she hadn't talked about yet about the 30 Days to Healthy Living. And she's like, I know there's 30 people in my life who don't have the fit kit. I know I can come up with at least 30 people. And so she decided, she challenged herself, and she gave herself 48 hours to get 30 detoxers, you guys. This is one human being, right? Not her team. And you guys, did you guys know that 32 detoxers is 10,000? That's first step area. So she challenged herself to go for 30 in 48 hours. And you guys, the first group of 30, some of them did, some of them didn't, but she ended up reaching her goal. And what happened is she went for this crazy goal, and it's not even a crazy goal, it's a totally doable goal. She went for it and decided that no matter what, it was a no matter what goal for her over the next few days. But that helped give her not only the extra she needed as she's working to finish nation, but it also helped propel her in momentum. Because when we start reaching out, and if we binge Arbonne for 48 hours, you guys would be shocked what happens to our business when we do that. Like, it's just, if you decide to do a reach out here and a reach out there and a reach out here, I mean, you guys, it's going to be really harder to do anything. But if you decide, nope, I'm going to binge Arbonne, I'm going to take the next 48 hours and I'm going to do all I can to not only get my sponsor on the phone with 4 people, and I'm going to go for my 30 detoxers. So I believe it. And I'm excited, and thank you, Whitney, so much. Terry, was there anything else added to that I might have missed?
No, she just said that she didn't hit the 30 in 48 hours, but it did push her. And she said, she was literally, I did not leave my office for 30 days, working to finish. But she just said that she was able to accomplish that. And even though she didn't get it within the 48 hours, that she literally, by the end of that month, in 15 days, was able to close out with 30 detoxers that had not had a detox or a fit kit in their hand ever before. And I think that's pretty. And she was pretty transparent with what she was doing and why she was doing it. She was just saying, I'm pushing for a really, big goal for my family. She talked about wanting her husband to be home and not have to drive in traffic and have stress. But, I think that there is a little bit of transparency that needs to come along with why we're doing this big push and this big goal. And you guys, if you have a big goal and you're really pushing for it, transparency and why you're pushing for that goal is important. I think that, you know, we can reach out to people all day long and say, you want to buy a fit kit, you got to do this, you got to do this. But I think adding a personal touch as to what your goal is will really help people identify